Hello televiewers and welcome to the midweek edition of The Brief live on My Media Prime Television. On today's edition of the program, we are revisiting what is happening in the northwest region of the country. We are talking about the ban that was imposed along two major routes. We are talking about the Bamenda Bingu Fundong route and the Bamenda Bandop route that was reportedly or circulation was reportedly banned along the set stretches of route by supposed separatist fighters in those part of the country. We shall equally be talking about things that are apparently falling apart after an alliance by one of the ringleaders of Ambazonia, or the alliance that Ayabacho Lucas signed with the Biafra movement. It didn't go well with some of his collaborators or some of those who are advocating for an independent Ambazonia state, as we shall be telling you. And also, Transport Minister of Cameroon, Jean-Ernest Ngale Bibihe, has taken certain decisions regarding the recent series of accidents which occurred along national routes in Cameroon. Transport Minister met in Yaoundé yesterday with some stakeholders in the transport sector, where some resolutions were arrived at yesterday. We shall be telling you more what the papers carry this morning. Let's find out what the French newspapers have for us this morning with Etape Quentin. Bonjour Etape et bienvenue une fois.
Bonjour Lasha et bonjour à nos millions de téléspectateurs et bienvenue à cette grande revue de presse bilingue de votre émission débrief de chaque matin, édition bien sûr de ce mercredi 11 août 2021. Bienvenue une fois de plus, on va parcourir les journaux tels que traités par nos confrères de la presse écrite. On ouvre très rapidement avec le quotidien Forum Libre qui s'intéresse au président de la République, gouvernement à distance, comment le président de la République du Cameroun, son Excellence Paul Biya, exerce ses fonctions régaliennes à Genève. En tout cas, on entre plus loin dans le journal d'après l'hebdomadaire bilingue d'enquête, d'analyse et de débat de Prince Aristide Nguenkam. Le président de la République, son Excellence Paul Biya, travaille au quotidien sans tambour ni trompette, loin des yeux des Camerounais depuis Genève. Il s'occupe des audiences, de l'économie, de la diplomatie de couloir, de la CEMAC et de la sécurité nationale. Le chef de l'État reste au cœur de tous les dossiers de la nation et de tout ce qui l'interpelle, rapporte le journal dans les colonnes des pages 6 et 7 de sa parution présente en kiosque ce matin. Et puis continuons avec le quotidien L'économie qui s'intéresse bien sûr à l'économie, exploitation du caoutchouc, près de 10 000 hectares de forêt détruits dans le sud. C'est d'ailleurs le titre que le journal consacre à sa grande une ce matin. À la page 3 de sa parution, l'on découvre ce matin également que ce chiffre a été révélé le 9 août 2021 par Greenpeace Afrique lors d'un rassemblement qui a eu lieu en marge de la célébration de la journée mondiale des peuples autochtones. Ceci étant, l'Union européenne est appelée à ne plus soutenir l'importation du caoutchouc issu de la destruction des forêts. Poursuivons cet exercice avec le quotidien Info Matin pour parler d'une autre matière première très prisée sur le marché national international, cacao. Le cacao, le kilogramme issu des centres d'excellence de traitement post-récolte à 1640 francs CFA. C'est d'ailleurs le grand titre du journal. Plus loin dans son développement, l'on constate que le ministre du Commerce a fait cette importante annonce hier, mardi 10 août 2021, à Kekem, dans le Onkam, en compagnie du ministre de l'Agriculture et du Développement Rural, Gabriel Robert, en marge de ce lancement de la campagne cacaoyère 2021-2022. Luc Magloire Mbaga à Tangana a informé les producteurs et les opinions qu'un exploitant camerounais basé à Ayos dans le Nyon et Mfumu garantit l'achat d'un kilogramme de cacao de qualité à 2000 francs CFA. Plus loin dans le journal, au bas de sa une, le journal s'intéresse également au coronavirus, justement sur les fonds alloués à la riposte contre le Covid-19 et titre Covid-Gate. TCS, Madaouda refuse d'endosser les 10 milliards hier devant les OPJ conduits par leur chef, le divisionnaire Oko, un petit Joël. Le ministre Santé aurait apprend-on d'une source introduite attribuée à la responsabilité de la gestion de la somme querellée au SG PR et au Memphis. La même source renseigne également que durant les 15 heures d'audition, l'ancien CSG du minier est resté cohérent, constant, imperturbable et infatigable. Une information à retrouver à la page 3 de ce journal présent en kiosque ce matin. Terminons très rapidement avec le journal Le Repère qui s'intéresse à la stabilité monétaire, projet intégrateur et réforme, et titre La CEMAC à la croisée des défis. Paul Biya, président en exercice de la conférence des chefs d'État de la communauté économique et monétaire de l'Afrique centrale, accueille ses homologues dans le cadre d'un sommet extraordinaire programmé le 18 août 2021. Mesdames et messieurs, fin et stop pour la revue de presse en langue française. Place actuellement à la découverte de ces titres en anglais avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Etape Quentin. Let's kickstart with the lone English daily, The Guardian Post. The Guardian Post newspaper is interested in the reorganization of the basic organs of the ruling CPDM party, and the paper writes that CPDM reorganization in the northwest and southwest goes dirty. Aspirants are largely hiring amber fighters to scare opponents. And also in the southwest region, Fako traditional rulers boiling with anger over permanent delegations interpretation of election directives. The election directives which were handed to the Central Committee of the ruling CPDM party by the President of the Republic, who happens to be National Chairman Paul Biya, as we are told by the newspaper. Let's keep this order headlines in the Guardian Post newspaper, talking about what I told you in my introduction, things apparently falling apart further as Ambazonia factions divided over alliance with Nigerian separatist group. The the paper writes that things appear to be further getting worse for Splinter and separatist fighters organization, or separatist organizations dreaming of splitting Cameroon. They are now on each other's throat over an alliance which Cho Ayaba, leader of the Ambazonia Governing Council, entered with the Nigerian secessionist group Indigenous People of Biafra in April this year. The heat amongst the separatist groups comes as Nigeria leader President Muhammadu Buhari and his Cameroonian counterpart President Paul Biya recently took a firm commitment to each or to crush the secessionist movements threatening peace and security in both countries. The latest of this scenario is captured in the recent outing of the interim president of the putative state of Ambazonian, Ikome Sako Samoe. Let's talk about this other headline, human interest story that has to do with a lady that allegedly stabbed to death that's a lover in Yaoundé over Njangi money. We are told that the lady, whose name is Rose Eyenge, is reported to have escaped after allegedly stabbing her boyfriend, identified as Alan Wong, to death during a scuffle over Njangi money in Yaoundé. The heartbreaking incident is said to have occurred Monday, August 9 in Vie Carrier Kululu, resident in the Awe Escalate neighborhood in the Mefu and Afamba division of the central region of Cameroon. And government to blame for rising illegal migration abroad. The government of Cameroon has been blamed, according to the paper, over the sharp rise in the number of Cameroonian youths embarking on perilous journeys across deserts to seek greener pasture abroad. According to a scholar, government is to blame for failing in its role to provide jobs to young graduates. The situation, the researcher says, leaves youth frustrated, thereby pushing them to continuously embark on the dangerous adventure of traveling to Europe on foot. More details in this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper, which is also telling us this morning that police parade suspected kidnappers in Yaoundé, and police officers of the Criminal Research and Investigation Unit of the Judicial Police in the Central Region have arrested 2 persons suspected of kidnapping and severally raping a 16-year-old girl named and the name has been withheld, as we are told. The main suspect, Edang Mbargajuan or Bargajang Ted, 22, and his accomplice Meyong Kabate Melvin, 23, were arrested in the night of last July 28, breaking 29. Let's now take you to the Sun newspaper, which is interested in the blockage of northwest roads on toll accounts from the ground. An investigation carried out by the Sun newspaper reveal how people are suffering in the towns and villages that the route passes, or the route goes to. We are told that the Bamenda Ngokutunja Boy route is now a nightmare for those who are supposed to be using the route, especially to go to the renowned Bingo Baptist Health Center, we are told by the Sun newspaper. And at 10th African Decentralization Day, Minister Obam places burden on local officials. The Decentralization and Local Development Minister George Elanga Obam reminds regional and local council elected officials that there are links in local development with a development-thirsty population. He also goes ahead to say local official or locally elected or local elected officials, on the other hand, they have complained, the paper says they have complained of blockages and feet dragging in the effective implementation of decentralization. Let's leave the Sun newspaper. We are with Emergence. Emergence newspaper says donors or partners of Cameroon insisting that Cameroon must publish the report of the report that was ordered by President Paul Biya by the Supreme State's audit. So we are talking about the report concerning COVID-19 money that has allegedly been swindled by some government officials. The paper is also interested in the recent meeting that took place yesterday in Yaoundé, the meeting which was chaired by Transport Minister Jean-Ernest Ngale Bibihel. The meeting was held at the backdrop of the recent occurrences or accidents along national routes in Cameroon, and the paper says curbing a recurrent road accident. Transport Minister consults with stakeholders. Some major decisions were equally arrived at during the meeting in Yaoundé yesterday, and Cameroon Tribune this morning is talking about sanctions which were meted on some of these agencies. Some of the agencies after the series of road accidents that claimed at least 40 lives across national routes or along national routes in the country. Transport Minister meted out the sanctions on such transport agencies yesterday after the emergency meeting that had to do with consultation also with stakeholders. Thank you for watching television as we are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning, and we are receiving a human rights defender, TARNTEH AMANDU, who is always with us here. He is coming from an NGO which is very much concerned with what is happening in Cameroon, especially when it comes to the rights of citizens in Cameroon. Good morning, sir, and welcome once again.
Good morning once more, Mr. Lasha. It's always an honor for me to be guest on your program.
Okay, we start vividly with this headline that has to do with two young Cameroonians of ages 22 and 23 who have been nabbed by police officers in Yaoundé for allegedly kidnapping and raping to near death a 16-year-old young lady in Yaoundé. What do you have to say to this recurrent or series of rapes that we are witnessing in Cameroon? This is not the first time. We had other coming from the northwest or the restive northwest and southwest region, and now we are having Yaoundé, and it's recurrent.
It's really disheartening and really unacceptable. So I just pray that these young men who have been arrested, because they are still suspects to that effect, so they have to just pray that the judiciary do its best to make sure that they investigate the matter and see if these guys are guilty or not guilty. If it happens that they are guilty, make sure that they are punished accordingly to scale orders, because this type of things are recurrent in Cameroon, most of them because some Cameroonians have, I don't know if impunity, because sometimes people commit crime and go free without being punished. I don't know if they go as people used to say that our judicial system is just like a market or a commodity where people go to, a market where people go to buy and sell commodities as possible. So, but we know that very well that some of these things are normally as also taken care of the judiciary. So to make sure that these guys who are arrested should be prosecuted accordingly, and we should know exactly if these guys are guilty, or if they are guilty, they should be given the normal sentence prescribed by the law. If not, if they are not guilty, then they should be set free, so that these things will give lessons. In fact, will make other people to learn and know very well that no one commits crime and go free, because the law is there, and we are in the state of law, and the law is there to punish these crimes committed by citizens.
You may want to agree with me that prevention is better than cure. What should the government, or what should we do to protect, to prevent further incidents like what we are seeing? Because it is recurrent, where people just do this thing as if nothing is happening. With the police officers we have around, they are only coming in when the incidents must have happened and they are investigating. What should we do to prevent, protect our young girls and women? And some people are arguing that their dressing style is also contributing to what is happening. Some of them dress half naked and they move along streets.
As I just said, the first responsibility, I will tack it on the judiciary. So the judiciary, if the judiciary make sure that all those who are involved in anything as such are prosecuted accordingly, I think it will scare others from doing such things. Second, with regard to the issue of dressing, I think it's the fact women has the right, like any other person, to dress the way they wish to dress. So
even moving naked?
Not moving naked. How do I say moving naked? Cannot see.
There are people who are moving with pants.
No, that's not possible. So let's say what let's just admit our assumptions.
Yes.
So
no, it's not assumption. People move with pants. No, people who move with pants.
No, well, if that's the case, normally we see that it's indecent. If we are dressed that way, it's not good. But at least we have the right to dressing to a certain extent. So we should not be using the fact that women are dressing type or whatsoever to do this. But we equally talk or pray that. Especially civil society and some of you, the media, I make sure that we initiate some different type of program where we will sensitize these youths and to tell them of the dangers of all these type of things, so that maybe it will help in one way or the other to avoid some of these things.
Okay.
Justement, dans la même lancée, quel pourrait être l'impact dans la pratique, c'est-à-dire le fait de se-vêtir avec les vêtements indécents? Pourquoi taux de
there are people who wear this thing they call in French collants now. And they move along, not even putting on pants. They put just the collant and they are moving along. Something that is supposed to be an underwear, they move with it.
So I'm not there like to encourage people to dress indecently or whatsoever. So what I'm really saying is that I just pray that Cameroonians, women, we should at least dress like Africans. We're Africans, no matter whatsoever it is. Even though we have right to certain dressing to a certain extent, but we should like dress decently to avoid some certain type of distractions. Even though we are not going to like blame these women, the law knows very well that the person who is much more involved, concerned with this issue of rape should be the man. Because the general said that it's a man that raped a woman. We don't know if anyway, because when he says that for rape or for something or sexual intercourse to occur, the fact a man must have erected, and for you to erect, you must have something or think something on your mind. If you don't think anything on your mind, it will be impossible for you to even thought of anything as such. So we just continue to pray that these guys, the women dress decently, and the young men should avoid all this stuff, because you have a lot of effects to that, to social kind of thing, like sexual transmission disease and HIV/AIDS. When you go into some certain thing, so you can transfer or you can receive.
You force somebody to sleep with a person against his will.
That is, it has a lot of effects.
You affect them for the rest of their life. AMANDU Tante, the diplomacy, concerted actions, collaboration between Cameroon and Nigeria yielding fruit already. We are told this morning by the Guardian Post that Amazonian leaders. They are already at loggerhead after the renewed commitment of presidents of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, and his counterpart, Muhammadu Buhari of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They took that firm commitment to crush this secessionist movement shortly after Cho Ayaba of the Ambazonia Governing Council signed an alliance, or went into an alliance, with the Biafra movement. Can we say that the action or the move taken by President Buhari and Paul Biya of Cameroon is yielding fruit? I think those guys are already fighting now. They are blaming Ayaba Cho for coming out openly to get into such alliance with the Biafra.
I think this issue of the interim government blaming the Ayaba Cho and all the rest of this is just an issue of distraction. Some of these things has no impact, have no effect. So it's just, I think it's just used as a means of distracting people for us to avoid looking exactly into what is happening. Because when you say that the interim government is blaming Ayaba Cho, whether they are blaming Ayaba Cho or they are not blaming Ayaba Cho, all these things has got nothing to do with what is happening on the ground.
No,
so we need to concentrate on what is happening on the ground, because
the morals of
it is not. It should be anything as such like collaboration. It should be the Biafran that should come to. It should come to the part of Cameroon where they are fighting to collaborate with these people, because we have not even seen anything like a war in Nigeria. But maybe it was something that happened in the 1967 or something, at 66 or something like that. But now we should look at what is happening on the ground and forget all these discussions, because all these kind of things.
Even after the borders, the common borders that we share with Nigeria.
We share a common border with Nigeria, but the fact that we share a common border with Nigeria does not give us.
Just imagine those guys coming into Cameroon.
This guy, in fact, it is true that it's not good, but that's why we continue to say that if we are collaborating with any other partner whatsoever on this issue, to use violence, we continue to condemn violence. We continue to say that violence is not a way of solving problems. I prefer that we collaborate with people who bring peaceful means or peaceful solutions, maybe peaceful ideas that will help us come out of this crisis, than collaborating with people who instead bring who said believe on violence as a means of solving problems.
Just to recall that April's alliance of Ayaba Cho just come to put to rest an exclusive interview that late Christain granted to the state broadcaster, the CRTV, and he stated in the interview that he spoke to when he was kidnapped in Dop. Yeah. Most of the guys that he spoke to, he said that they said those guys were coming from Nigeria, and many people were insulting the late Cardinal that he was lying. So is it not a fact now that the alliance that Ayaba Cho had, or the thing had already been happening behind closed door, and they are just bringing it for Cameroonians to see now, because the Cardinal said it before he died? Even more than 50% of those fighting on the ground are Nigerian.
Even though most of these things are assumptions, but even if he said that most of those who are fighting on the ground,
he was told, he spoke to them and they told him that they are from Nigeria.
The fact that they are from Nigeria doesn't make them Nigerian. Because there are a lot of Cameroonians, especially those who were displaced as a result of this crisis. We have been told that many of those who were displaced and who went to Nigeria are now coming back, being trained and coming back to join these forces. So that's some of the consequences of these people going out of the country, because some of them have the privilege that way to be trained to come back and fight for the restoration of the so-called Ambazonia Republic.
Okay, most often the things that they tie around their neck, we are told that they come from Nigeria.
You are an African like I, because you know very well there's not all those guys from Nigeria. Even from where we come from, we know very well that there are people who used to give all those things who can, in one way or the other, as for those who believe on it, one way or the other work or not. So we should not like coming Nigeria.
They call it Nigeria or Deshi in Cameroon. How do they call it? How do the ambassadors call it?
Oui, on va aussi parler de cette information qui nous renseigne sur les fonctions régaliennes du président de la République à l'Hexagone. Il y a le journal Forum Libre qui nous indique que le président de la République n'a pas de répit et il travaille vraiment considérablement. Il s'occupe des affaires diplomatiques de la CEMAC. Il s'occupe également des audiences qu'il accorde de l'autre côté là-bas. Qu'avez-vous à dire sur ce sujet lorsque nous avons traversé des informations ou bien des rumeurs qui tournaient autour de son voyage à l'étranger, comme quoi c'était un court séjour privé?
The only thing I can recall here better is that when the president was going out, we were only told that the president is going out. We were never told the reason for which he was going out. But we know very well that the president, it's short stay. So we don't know if even though the presidency or the president is an institution and it has the right, like any other president, to like when going out, even if it was a private stay, he still have the right to continue working, be it from there or when he's here, to continue working, go about his normal activities. Especially when we have a lot of problems here in Cameroon. I know very well that I was equally praying that when as the president goes out like this, and maybe he should do everything possible to like talk or try to collaborate with some of his partners or even those who are directly involved in this conflict or one way or the other, so that they might look in one way or the other looks also possible means of facilitating the way of our people going out of this pain, because our civilians are continue to say are suffering a lot. So we are continue praying that the president should do everything possible to get them out of this mess.
We end with this decision that was taken yesterday by Transport Minister Jean-Ernest Ngale Bibien after a series of road accidents which occurred on our national highways, and some agency or inter-urban transport agencies were sanctioned, and we are told that seat belts are obligatory now for those who are applying these major highways in the country, and the time has been increased too as well, meaning Yaoundé it was 3 hours, Yaoundé now has to be 5 hours, as we're told, as a result of that speed limit has to be reduced.
Okay, office was
30 seconds.
Okay, office will start by thanking the minister for the decision, but even though our ministers are continue to say our Cameroonian leaders are not proactive, at least they are reactive. It's preferable to have leaders who are proactive. They take measures to prevent something from happening.
No, these measures now are proactive measures now.
No, they're not proactive. They wait for 40 people to die because before they start bringing out all these things.
No, we are talking about the measures now to prevent.
But the issue is that when they take measures as such, they should make sure that these measures are implemented. It is not to just sit there and say that they have given this, they should respect this, respect that, or whatsoever, and remain behind without checking these people to know if these measures are being applied or not.
Okay, thank you so much, AMANDU TARNTEH, for coming today on today's edition of the program. It was a pleasure knowing that you took out time to watch us this Wednesday, and hopefully we'll be with you tomorrow for yet another edition of What the Papers Must Have Said. The program was produced by Christain, Tebong. For presentation, Etape, Quentin, and myself, Lasha. We were here for you. Bye-bye. Tomorrow is another day.